Hey guys, in the screencast we're going to be looking over our review for Chapter 2 quiz, so lessons 1, 2, 3, and 4. So our first question, we're going to write the fraction as a decimal. So our first one, we have a fraction of 1/8. To do this, you need to change that bottom number into a place value number. So remember what I told you, 8 times 125 will get us 1,000, and 1,000 is a place value number. So 8 times 125 is 1,000, and then 1 times 125 is 125. Now it asks me to find the decimal. So I'm going to take this right here and write it as a decimal. So I have 0.125. Now if you're still having a hard time multiplying to find the place value number, then you can also just do 1 divided by 8 like I taught you in your notes. Our next one, we have a mixed number because we have a whole number in a fraction. So our 3 just comes straight down. Don't forget your pizzas. And now we're going to have to figure out 2 over 25. How do I make that bottom number to a place value? To do that, we're going to multiply by 4. So we get 8 over 100. So now I'm going to take this down there and write 8 in the 100th spot. Now I'm not going to write 8 in that first blank because that's the 10th spot. So I'm going to write a 0. But I'm going to write in this second one right here because that's the 100th spot.
Micah Nunnery to the car circle. Micah Nunnery to the car circle.
Sorry if that keeps going off. I can't change that. But let's look at the second one. Write the decimal as a fraction in simplest form. And it will need to be on simplest form in your quiz tomorrow. So anytime it says you need to write it as a fraction, the number that's written, that's the top number. Then you're going to see what place value that 5's in. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths. And you're going to simplify by 125. And we get 1/8. Okay, our next one. We have a whole number, so let's bring that down in the answer. The 2 is in, let's see, the tenths, hundredths spot. So 2 over 100. I'm going to simplify by 2. And I'm going to get 1 over 50. So this guy needs to go down by all your pizza that you put down there. So 7 and 1/50th as your answer. Okay, let's look at our next one. We're going to write the percent as a decimal. So remember, when you have a whole number, you put it at the end and you go 1, 2. So we get 0.32. Over here, your decimal's already there, and you still have to move it 2 times. So 1, 2. We have an empty spot there, so we're going to put a 0 there. So our answer is 0.006. Our next one is write the fraction as a percent. Remember, to write a percent, we need to have it out of 100. So I need to make that bottom number 100. To do that, I'm going to multiply by 5. And so 20 times 5 is 100. 6 times 5 is 30. So we get, bring that down, we get 30%. Same thing over here. We have to get that 25 to be 100. When we do that, we're going to multiply by 4. Because 25 times 4 gives us 100. And then 2 times 4 is 8. So we're going to write 8 down here as 8%. And make sure you're including that percent sign as you're doing this. Our next one, we're going to write each of these as a decimal and a fraction. So the first thing I'm going to do decimal and a fraction. I like making sure I write these little out so I know that at the end that I have to have them both filled in. Remember, our decimal goes right here. So we go 1, 2. Look at that, we get 6. That's a whole number. Anytime we have a whole number for our decimal, we also have a whole number for our fraction. This side over here, we still have to find the decimal in the fraction. To do a decimal, we're going to move 2 times to the left. We have a spot right there, so we have to put a 0. So we have 0.006. Now we have to write the fraction of that. So we have 6, and the 6 is in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths spot. They're both even, so we're going to simplify by 2. And when I simplify by 2, I get 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 100 divided by 2 is 500. And that's how you got your answer. Our next one says write each decimal as a percent. To do that, we're going to move 2 times to the right. that little spot right there, we're going to put 0, so 650% answer. And then right here we go 1, 2. It's right between those two numbers, so we have 4.8%. Our next card is going to be our hardest problem right here. We're going to change 13.5% into a fraction in simplest form. So our 13 is going to come down. We're going to change that half into a decimal. A lot of you know that a half is just 0.5. So if you know that, you can just write it like that. Or you can multiply it to get a place value number on the bottom. So if we multiply by 5, we get 5 over 10. And that's how we got that 0.5 right there. Now this is still a percent. So we need to get that percent sign gone. So we're going to go 1, 2. And that's 0.135. So the percent sign's gone, and it's a decimal, but now we have to get into fraction form. So to do that, I'm going to put 135 over 1,000 because that number right here is in the thousand spot. And I'm going to divide by 5. 135 divided by 5 is 27.
Mackenzie Plummer to the car circle. Mackenzie Plummer to the car circle.
And then if I take this off, those two zeros off, I have 10 divided by 5. That's 2. Then you add your 2 zeros back on, so you get 27 over 200. This one over here is a lot easier because it's a whole number. So percents are out of 100, so to turn 62% into a fraction, we're going to write 62 over 100. And now we have to do it in simplest form. They're both even numbers, so we'll divide by 2. When we do that, 6 divided by 2 is 3, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and then 100 divided by 2 is 50. Remember, anytime if you need to pause it or re-look at it, make sure you're doing that so you can understand what's going on. These problems are going to be very similar to what's going to be on your quiz tomorrow. And then our last one, we're going to write each decimal as a percent. So we're going to move 2 times to the right. That blank's going to get a 0, so this is 60%. Over here, we're going to move 2 times to the right. We have 35.6% as our answer. Okay. So make sure you're studying tonight. If you need to re-watch the video, that is fine, and you guys will do great.